What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you a yearly video I do on my channel every year. It's my entire Blu-ray collection video for the year 2021. If you guys are new here, feel free to click that subscribe button and that bell notification icon for more reviews, reactions, rankings, and more movie content. Guys, look at all the Blu-rays in front of me. My goodness. My collection keeps growing every single year. And with the pandemic last year, I may have not bought as many Blu-rays as I do previously. But still, this is a massive collection. If you're new to this channel and don't know, I love movies. I love collecting Blu-rays, as you can see. I love talking about movies. And especially doing this video every single year. I got 649 Blu-rays. I just counted today. Last year, I had about 500. Now I have 649, about 650. So I'm going to give you quick thoughts on all these movies. I'm going to try to lightning storm through all of them and just have fun. I'm going to go through all the box sets first and then the regular Blu-rays after that in alphabetical order. Also want to apologize if you see glares every now and then. I apologize. I'm in a new setting. I don't film here. I film over there. So I apologize if you see that every now and then. Gonna kick it off right here with the only TV Blu-ray box set I have, which is Game of Thrones, all 8 seasons in 4K. I love Game of Thrones despite the awful season 8. The rest of the show is fantastic technical wise. Some of my favorite characters are in the series. Next I have the Cornetto trilogy from Edgar Wright, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. I love Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. I haven't seen The World's End yet. Just some really funny comedies. The Rambo collection with Sylvester Stallone. Just the first Rambo movie, First Blood, was just a really simple plot that I really enjoyed. One of my favorite trilogies growing up was the Night at the Museum trilogy with Ben Stiller. Just really great family films. All 3 are great. The Mission Impossible 5 film collection, just this franchise gets better and better with every installment, especially with Fallout. Just I love it. Cannot wait for Mission Impossible 7. The Men in Black trilogy, forget Men in Black International exists. The second film is not good, but I enjoy the first and the third film with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. The Batman 4 film collection. The first 2, those are the only ones you gotta watch. Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, don't even watch those monstrosities. The Die Hard 4 film collection, that's right, there's 4 movies. There's not a 5th one, just so we're clear. The first Die Hard is one of my favorite action films. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. The Halloween collection, all 11 movies. I bought this just cause to watch the 2018 Halloween movie. Michael Myers, he really creeps me out. Next, a recent pickup last year, the Lord of the Rings 4K trilogy extended editions. I've been looking to buy the extended editions. Now I have them. They look absolutely incredible in 4K, especially Return of the King, which is my favorite of the trilogy. The Blade trilogy, just really great comic book movies with vampire vibes to them. And Wesley Snipes, I enjoyed ya. Can't wait for Mahershala Ali as Blade. 1.21 gigawatts, the Back to the Future trilogy. If you don't have this in your collection, you don't have a Blu-ray collection, in my opinion. The Alien anthology, all the Alien movies, just this is one of those franchises that Ridley Scott created that just defines sci-fi, and I love the first 2. Next, we got the Star Wars prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. Just say what you want about the prequels, but they define Star Wars. They got great characters and great stories, especially Empire Strikes Back, my favorite film. Hey Nancy, wanna play? The Nightmare on Elm Street collection, a great horror collection to have, and Freddy Krueger, one of the scariest creatures put to cinema. The Oceans trilogy, just fun heist movies. They're just really fun. I really dig them. The James Bond 24 film collection. Cannot wait for No Time to Die. Just, I haven't seen a majority of these. I'm going to binge watch all of them leading up to No Time to Die and rank all of them. I'm really looking forward to this project. The Terminator collection. 4 films. It doesn't have Terminator Genesis and Terminator Dark Fate. but I enjoyed most of these movies, not all of them. The Indiana Jones quadrilogy, you only need to watch pretty much the first 3, but I do enjoy Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The Godfather trilogy. Still haven't seen Godfather 3 yet, but the first 2 are some of the greatest films ever made. And finally, the Harry Potter collection. Again, you don't have a Blu-ray collection if you don't own these movies. Childhood. First up, we got 10 Cloverfield Lane, one of my favorite films from 2016. John Goodman, how did he not get an Oscar nom for this? 10 Things I Hate About You. Really great romantic comedy. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger. 12 Years a Slave, definitely deserved Best Picture. Just a very emotional movie. I haven't rewatched it. 1917, a brilliant war movie shot in one take, and Sam Mendes deserved more Oscars. 21 Jump Street, great comedy. 22 Jump Street, even better. 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later. I've seen 28 Days Later. I really enjoyed it. Haven't seen 28 Weeks Later. The 40-Year-Old Version, one of my favorite Judd Apatow movies. Steve Carell just is hilarious as a 40-year-old virgin. 42, the Jackie Robinson story. Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. Just Harrison Ford's also great. A great sports movie. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. 50-50, a very underrated comedy. Go see it if you haven't. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Seth Rogen. It treats cancer really well, but it's also a comedy. This is Sparta. 300, Zack Snyder, one of his more badass movies. It's not amazing, but it's just epic. 500 Days of Summer, one of my favorite romance movies. JGL, one of my favorite performances from him. Just Mark Webb, stick to romance. 2001: A Space Odyssey. HAL 9000, one of my favorite villains. And Stanley Kubrick, this is his masterpiece. I absolutely love it. Abominable, an adorable DreamWorks movie. One of the more underrated. Go check it out. I loved it. Speaking of underrated, The Accountant. Gavin O'Connor, Ben Affleck, one of his best performances. You need to watch this if you haven't. It's so good. Aladdin, rest in peace, Robin Williams, one of my favorite Disney movies, so popular, and The Genie, just iconic. The remake, I like the remake, I enjoyed it. It's nowhere close to the original, but I thought Will Smith did a solid job living up to Robin Williams. Prometheus, I wasn't a big fan of this movie, but I thought Ridley Scott did a solid job with the visuals. I just liked the first 2 Aliens more. Alien Covenant, I will defend this movie. It got a lot of hate, but I really liked it, especially Michael Fassbender. Alita Battle Angel, one of the more underrated movies. Terrific visual effects. James Cameron should have directed it, but Robert Rodriguez did a solid job. The Amazing Spider-Man, I don't own Amazing Spider-Man 2, I won't, but this movie was just a rehash of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. But Andrew Garfield's great. American Beauty, Kevin Spacey, separate art from the artist. It's a fantastic movie from Sam Mendes, probably his best movie. The curb stomping scene defines this film, but American History X, Edward Norton's best performance, absolutely phenomenal. You like Huey Lewis in the News? American Psycho, one of my favorite movies. Christian Bale, just his best performance. It's so iconic. It's a must-own. Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Will Ferrell, his second most iconic performance. Anchorman, very funny comedy, and it's one of Will Ferrell's best. Speaking of Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, I've done so many MCU ranking videos, guys. You can go check them out, but Ant-Man was a big surprise. Nobody expected this film to be good, but it was. On the other hand, Ant-Man and the Wasp is one of the weakest MCU movies. Such a letdown from the first one. It's fine. Apocalypse Now. I've not seen this movie yet from Francis Ford Coppola. I've seen The Godfather 1 and 2, but not this. I've heard great things. My man, Aquaman. Jason Momoa defines Aquaman. It's cheesy, it's corny, it's got cool villains, but the story is not the best. Solid. Argo, Fuck Yourself. Argo, one of Ben Affleck's best movies. It's Best Picture winner. Armageddon, one of my favorite Michael Bay movies. It's solid, it's not amazing, but it's fun. Arrival, one of Denis Villeneuve's best movies. Just, how did Amy Adams not even get nominated for this film? Avatar, it's blue people. Pocahontas, it is what it is. Avatar is overrated, but I still have it. Avengers Age of Ultron, Avengers Infinity War, and Endgame. Avengers Assemble. I mean, come on, guys. The Aviator, one of Martin Scorsese's more underrated movies. It's way too long, though, but Leonardo DiCaprio, he was really good in this movie. Baby Driver, one of my favorite Edgar Wright movies. Ansel Elgort was really solid in here. The driving, editing was perfect. Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 2, and Bad Boys for Life. My favorite of the trilogy, but Bad Boys is what it is. Batman Mask of the Phantasm, one of the best Batman movies. Go watch it if you haven't yet. I mean, it's just fantastic. Really loved it. Batman Begins, one of the most beautiful Blu-ray 4Ks I've seen. Just, you know it's great. Why so serious? The Dark Knight, it looks even better. And The Dark Knight Rises, babe! Just, you guys know what I think of the Dark Knight trilogy. Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition is definitely the one to go with. The theatrical edition can just go away. But yeah, Batman v Superman. I've done a lot of DCU ranking videos. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Tom Hanks did a great job as Mr. Rogers. Just, it made me fall in love with Mr. Rogers again, especially as a kid. A Beautiful Mind. Russell Crowe definitely lost that Oscar big time, but he's incredible in here. So is Jennifer Connelly. She's gorgeous. Beauty and the Beast live action. I don't have the original, but I have Disney Plus. But still, this one wasn't amazing, but it's not bad. Big Daddy, one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. I watch this movie all the time with my family. So rewatchable. It's one of my favorites. Big Hero 6, my favorite Revival Age Disney movie. I've done a Revival Age ranking. Go check it out. Blah, 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 blah. Big Lebowski, one of my favorite comedies. The Dude Abides, Jeff Bridges, iconic. Big Trouble in Little China, John Carpenter, Kurt Russell, just 80s cheese. That's what the movie needed to be. Birds of Prey, I recently just did a DCU tier list. Definitely go check it out. I really love Birds of Prey. Go see where it landed on the list. The Big Sick, Kumail Nanjiani introduced the world to me, and I loved it. This seriously is underrated. If you have not seen this movie, go watch it. Black Hawk Down, another underrated Ridley Scott film. Just a simple war movie. Didn't need a big plot. Black Klansman, John David Washington. If you loved him in Tenet, go watch him in this. He's even better. Spike Lee is a genius. Black Panther, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Just great MCU movie. I know a lot of people think it's overrated, but I loved it. Blade Runner, The Final Cut. A little overrated, but Blade Runner's fine. But Blade Runner 2049 is far superior. Denis Villeneuve, you are a god. I can't wait for Dune. Blinded by the Light, another underrated movie for you guys to see. If you love music, please watch this movie. Blood Diamond, Leonardo DiCaprio, very underrated movie. Should have got so much love. Booksmart, really good comedy. It hasn't stuck with me, but Olivia Wilde's directorial debut was really solid. The Bourne movies, Bourne Identity, fantastic action movie. It's got some shaky cam, but Matt Damon proved he's a good action star. Bourne Supremacy, probably my least favorite. Bourne Ultimatum, definitely my favorite. and The Bourne Legacy, which is my least favorite. I love the Bourne films. Oh, I have that? Boyhood, one of the more overrated movies. I don't know why this got a lot of Oscar love. Just not my movie. Brave, one of my least favorite Pixar movies. I enjoy the world, just not one of my favorites. Brawl in Cell Block 99, Vince Vaughn, his best performance to date. The Breakfast Club, one of the best 80s coming-of-age movies ever. Bridesmaids, really good comedy from Paul Feig. The whole cast was just great. Bug's Life, one of the more underrated Pixar movies. It's lower on a lot of people's lists. I don't know why. Bumblebee, definitely the best Transformers movie. Haley Steinfeld is great in it. The Cabin in the Woods, one of my favorite horror movies. It was so much fun. Call Me By Your Name, Chalamet, Armie Hammer. It's a love story. It's fantastic. First Avenger, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. You know what I think of the Captain America movies. Best MCU trilogy. Captain Marvel, one of my least favorite Marvel movies. Not awful, just I didn't care about the character. Cars 1, definitely the best. Cars 2, I don't know why I own it. Cars 3, it's fine. Castaway Wilson! I think it's overrated. The trailer should not have been released, but Robert Zemeckis, it's okay. Casablanca, fantastic romance movie. Here's Looking at You, Kid. Did a review on it. Catch Me If You Can, one of my favorite Spielberg movies. One of my favorite films of all time. Charlie Brown Christmas, great Christmas movie. Just a must-own. Children of Men, one of Alfonso Cuarón's best films. This movie should have won so much Oscars. A Christmas Story, not one of my favorite Christmas movies. My family loves it. I just don't. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I still haven't seen this movie yet. Chronicle. I as well still have not seen this movie yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Christopher Robin. Oh, Winnie the Pooh is just so adorable. Chronicles of Narnia. I grew up with the first Chronicles of Narnia. Prince Caspian's really good too, but the first one's still my favorite. Cinderella, shout out to Dave Lee Down Under for getting this to me. I won his competition. Cinderella, it's not one of my favorite Disney movies, but it's fine. Citizen Kane, I did a review on this. Go check it out. The recent Mank movie, I didn't love it, but Citizen Kane is a really good movie. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, probably one of Spielberg's more underrated films. Close Encounters doesn't get talked about enough. Coco, one of my favorite Pixar movies. Just gorgeous. Love the music and the ending. Emotional tears. Collateral. Yo, homie, you got my suitcase? My favorite Michael Mann movie. Tom Cruise needs to do more villain roles. Con Air. Put the bunny back in the box. Just one of the most cheesiest movies ever made. The Conjuring 1, one of the best horror movies this past decade. James Wan. I don't know why he's not doing the third one. But Conjuring 2, in popular opinion, I like the second one more. Crawl, one of the biggest surprises that came out the past few years. Really love this alligator chompy movie. Crazy Rich Asians, Henry Golden. I can't wait to see him do more work. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, one of the best kung fu movies of all time. And Coraline, did a review for this as part of my Halloween series. You guys know I absolutely love the film. Darkest Hour, Gary Oldman's Oscar-winning performance. I still haven't seen it yet. Chimichangas, the first Deadpool, one of my favorite comic book movies. Deadpool 2, good sequel, not as good as the first one. I love Cable. Deepwater Horizon, one of my favorite Mark Wahlberg movies, just a great true story. The Departed, Bastian, my favorite Scorsese movie. Freaking love that movie. Detective Pikachu, really solid movie, more Ryan Reynolds. I would like a sequel to it. Dinosaur, one of the more underrated Disney movies. Watched this a lot when I was a kid. The CGI doesn't hold up though. The Disaster Artist, ha 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 ha. James Franco should have gotten an Oscar nom as Tommy Wiseau. Masterpiece. District 9, really good movie. I just think the first act kind of lags a bit, but the final two acts are brilliant. Django Unchained, my favorite Tarantino movie. Go check out my ranking. I just gush about that film. Doctor Strange, one of the more overrated MCU films, but Benedict Cumberbatch is perfect casting as Doctor Strange. Dredd, one of the more underrated comic book films. Carl Urban needs to play this character again. Dumb and Dumber 2. I ask myself, why do I still own that? I don't even own the first one. What the hell is wrong with me? Dumbo, a really solid animated movie. Emotional with Baby Mom. Dunkirk, if you're a fan to the channel, you know I think this is Nolan's most overrated movie, but it looks gorgeous on Blu-ray. Edge of Tomorrow, where is this goddamn sequel? I'm waiting for it, because I love Edge of Tomorrow. 8th Grade, one of my favorite A24 films. Bo Burnham needs to direct more, especially in A24. Santa! Elf, my favorite Christmas movie. How have I not reviewed this movie yet? It's a classic. The Equalizer, really badass Denzel Washington movie. The sequel was not that good, but solid. E.T. Elliot, Phone Home. E.T., it's a classic Spielberg movie. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, definitely one of the most overrated movies of all time. Evil Dead 1 and 2, just did a ranking of these last Halloween. Go check them out. Evil Dead 2 would definitely be my favorite. Army of Darkness, same fun classic Evil Dead. The remake is very lovely praised, but I didn't like this remake at all. Ex Machina, one of my favorite sci-fi movies. Alicia Vikander, Oscar Isaac, some of my favorite sci-fi characters. The Exorcist, hailed as the scariest movie ever made. I didn't see it in theaters back in the day, but it was definitely a very good movie. Fantastic Mr. Fox, probably top 3 Wes Anderson for me. Really love that movie. The Farewell, this was the most snubbed out of A24 for sure. I was expecting that movie to get a lot of noms, but it didn't. Fargo, Coen Brothers classic, Frances McDormand's first Oscar. Fast and Furious 1, Too Fast, Too Furious, Tokyo Drift, why do I keep hitting the Blu-rays? Fast and Furious 4, Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, so many Blu-rays, Furious 7, and Fast and Furious 8, F9. I'll be honest, I'm not looking forward to that movie, but I enjoy the other ones. And I forgot Hobbs and Shaw, which is one of my favorite ones. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, just a classic coming-of-age movie. Sean Penn, one of his most iconic characters. Fences, Denzel Washington did a great job. It's a really good dramatic film. Viola Davis stole the whole movie. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, it's a classic. Come on, you gotta own that. We don't talk about the first rule of Fight Club, but I still will. Fight Club, one of my favorite Fincher movies. I love that. Finding Nemo, this movie made me the man I am today. It's one of my favorite films of all time. And for Pixar, it's one of my favorites. Finding Dory didn't need a sequel to Finding Nemo, if I'm being honest. But Finding Dory wasn't that bad. First Man, one of my lower tier for Damien Chazelle, but Ryan Gosling is really good in the movie. The Florida Project, A24, did a list recently, and I watched it for the first time. How did I miss seeing that movie? It's phenomenal. Ford v Ferrari, fantastic movie. Christian Bale, Matt Damon, James Mangold, one of his best. Live it like a box of chocolates and I'm running. Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks' most iconic character next to Woody. Frosty the Snowman, I'm a big Rankin Bass fan. You're going to see those in this collection. Frozen, definitely overrated, but it's not awful. It's just the songs I find overrated. Frozen 2 hasn't stuck with me, but the songs are the best part of the movie, if I'm being honest. Full Metal Jacket, I haven't watched it in 4K yet, but I just love Full Metal Jacket from Stanley Kubrick. Game Night, one of my favorite comedies to come out the past decade. Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams are fantastic in that movie. Get Out, one of my favorite horror movies to date. Jordan Peele, he needs to make something that's equally good, because Us was kind of disappointing. The Gentleman, great movie. One of my favorites from 2020. Did I put this on the list? But I don't know. Go check out my best movies of 2020 to find out. Ghostbusters 1 and 2. The first Ghostbusters is an absolute classic. The sequel is one of the most disappointing sequels of all time. Still not bad. Girls Trip, still haven't seen it yet, if I'm being honest. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, one of my favorite from Fincher. Just, he needs to make more grittier movies, especially after Mank. Maximus Decimus Meridius. Gladiator, one of Ridley Scott's best movies. Glass, definitely one of the more disappointing movies. Unbreakable is one of my favorite films of all time. Did not stick the landing. Godzilla 2014, was not a big fan of this movie. I did not like them killing Bryan Cranston. Godzilla King of the Monsters was definitely better, but suffers the same character development story-wise. Gone Baby Gone, probably Ben Affleck's most underrated movie. I love Gone Baby Gone. It's a classic. More Ben Affleck with Gone Girl, just Fincher, one of his best movies. I love seeing this film in the theater. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Don't unsubscribe. I still have not seen this movie. I know it's one of my goals this year. Good Boys, really great comedy, really enjoyed it. Seth Rogen has a cameo, liked him. The Good Dinosaur, bottom tier Pixar, but my brother Cody loves this movie. Goodfellas, top 3 Scorsese movies. It's a classic. Joe Pesci makes the movie. Good Morning Vietnam! Rest in peace, Robin Williams. Just an underrated Robin Williams movie. Good Time, Robert Pattinson, the Safdie brothers, just introduced the world to them. Good Will Hunting, definitely Robin Williams' best performance, and just, how do you like them apples? A Goofy movie. Cody really loves the movie. He definitely bought it. I haven't revisited the movie in such a long time. Grand Budapest Hotel, definitely my favorite Wes Anderson movie. I just love the style of this movie. It's so funny. Gravity, very overrated, but Alfonso Cuarón, just a solid job visual-wise. Grease, probably my favorite musical movie, if I'm being honest. I just was in the play. I watched the movie so many times. It's a classic. The Greatest Show. The Greatest Showman. I love Hugh Jackman, and the songs are the best part. Green Book, definitely didn't deserve Best Picture, but it's a really good movie. Really enjoyed it. Mahershala deserved it, though. Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the biggest surprises. One of my favorite theater experiences. I saw it 3 times in the theater. I loved it. Guardians Volume 2 was definitely a step down. I don't hate it. I really enjoyed it. Just a lot of the plot points didn't work out. Hacksaw Ridge, my favorite movie of 2016. Mel Gibson's triumphant return. Andrew Garfield's best performance. Halloween 2018, really good. Definitely the second best Halloween movie. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, not up to par with the Harry Potter series. It's okay. Crimes of Grindelwald, abomination. Definitely the worst out of the franchise. You want a hot dog? The Happening, guilty pleasure, M. Night Shyamalan. I love watching this movie every now and then. The Hateful Eight, bottom tier for Tarantino. It's a really long, but just Samuel L. Jackson, you know what. The Hate U Give, still haven't finished this movie, but I really liked it from what I saw. Hellboy 1, really good from Guillermo del Toro. Great. Ron Perlman is Hellboy, but Golden Army is definitely far superior. Really just love the action. Hell or High Water, definitely one of my favorite westerns and a very underrated movie. Please go watch this movie. Her, Joaquin Phoenix, one of his best performances. Spike Jonze, one of the greatest love stories I've seen in this past while. Hercules, definitely a fun Disney movie. Not one of my favorites, but it's still really solid. Hereditary, one of my favorite horror films this past decade, and Toni Collette got snubbed. Hidden Figures, really good solid movie. Go check it out. Next is the Hobbit trilogy, Unexpected Journey, Desolation of Smaug, and Battle of the Five Armies. It's fine, but I'd rather watch Lord of the Rings. Home Alone 1 and 2, the only Home Alone movies worth owning. They're just must-watch Christmas movies for me. Hook, I Hate Peter Pan. Just Spielberg. This movie got so bashed by critics, I don't know why. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, iconic Grinch movie, definitely the best one to watch at the holiday season. Next is the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. If you have not seen these movies, please go watch them. Just the best animated trilogy, hands down. I, Tonya, Margot Robbie, I thought she should have got the Oscar. Just, it's a Scorsese movie and a sports film. Allison Janney, glad she got it. I Am Legend, Will Smith. It's got the saddest scene in history with the dog. My goodness. If Beale Street Could Talk, Barry Jenkins. I love this movie as well. Also very underseen. Go watch it. Boom! Inception. Top tier Nolan. One of my favorites. Incredibles, definitely top tier Pixar. Classic family action syndrome, yes! Incredibles 2, definitely a solid sequel. Definitely nowhere up to the par of the first movie, but I like Bob Odenkirk in it. Incredible Hulk, I'm looking forward to seeing Tim Roth back as Abomination and She-Hulk, but Incredible Hulk, it's definitely the black sheep of the MCU. Inglourious Bastards, one of my favorite Tarantino movies. The Bear Jew and the milk scene with Hans Landa is iconic. Inherent Vice, probably the black sheep of Paul Thomas Anderson, but, you know, it's fine. Inside Out, after seeing Soul, I don't know which one's better, Inside Out or Soul, but I'll still go with Inside Out. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Insidious, James Wan, fantastic horror movie, just one of the creepiest I've seen in a while. Insomnia, definitely underrated for Nolan, Al Pacino, and Robin Williams. It's basically like Heat, but it's more suspenseful. Instant Family, please watch this movie if you haven't yet. Mark Wahlberg gives a career performance, one of his best in my opinion. Interstellar, Christopher Nolan, it's a beautiful Blu-ray. I really like Interstellar, just the ending didn't work for me. The Invisible Man, you can go check out my best movies of 2020 to see where this movie ends up on the list. And I absolutely loved it. Probably the best horror movie of 2020. The Iron Giant, one of my favorite movies of all time. Animation-wise, character-wise, and the Iron Giant, just, I root for him. Iron Man kicked off the MCU and kicked off a great, just character with Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man 2, one of the worst sequels I've seen. And Iron Man 3, I am now a defender of Iron Man 3. I love Iron Man 3. Isle of Dogs, one of my favorite Wes Anderson movies. Saw this twice in theaters. Just such a great movie. It's a Wonderful Life, top tier Christmas movies. Watched it for the first time a couple of years ago, and I absolutely loved it. The It miniseries, it's way too long, and the adult version is not good. It 2017, definitely the best It movie, and just Andy Muschietti is a legend. But It Chapter 2 is a very disappointing sequel that was way too long, and the adult parts were really boring. Jackie Brown, definitely my favorite of Tarantino's underrated movies. Robert Forster was amazing in this film. Jaws, Spielberg, top tier Spielberg, just, it's a classic. John Wick 1, one of the biggest surprises I've ever seen in my life. John Wick Chapter 2, it's a really good sequel, just not better. And John Wick Chapter 3, definitely the best action of the whole series. Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi, just this movie's hilarious, especially with the subject matter it was dealing with. Joker, definitely one of the more controversial films, but Joaquin Phoenix absolutely deserved his Oscar. Jumanji, one of my favorite childhood movies growing up with Robin Williams, it's so rewatchable. Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle is probably one of the biggest surprises I've seen. I expected nothing from it, and I loved it. But The Next Level, though, is one of the most disappointing sequels. The Jungle Book 2016, Jon Favreau kicked this off with a bang, and it's my favorite Jungle Book movie. Jurassic Park, my favorite Spielberg movie, my childhood, the visuals still hold up today. The Lost World, it's a fine sequel, but it's just not amazing. Jurassic Park 3, awful movie. Jurassic World, solid. I really enjoyed it. I don't own Fallen Kingdom, that movie's an atrocity. Justice League, I'm looking forward to that Zack Snyder cut. That's all I'm saying about that. Just Mercy. If you haven't seen this movie, definitely go watch it. Michael B. Jordan, Jamie Foxx, Brie Larson. It's a tough watch, but it's so good. Kiki's Delivery Service, a childhood classic for Cody and I for Studio Ghibli. Need to get into more Studio Ghibli, that's for sure. Kill Bill Volume 1 and Kill Bill Volume 2. I would definitely say Kill Bill Volume 1 is great story and action-wise. King Kong, Peter Jackson, really long, I'll just say that. It is way too long, but the battles were so worth the wait. Kingsman: The Secret Service, one of the biggest surprises I saw in theaters. I expected nothing from it, and it blew my mind. The Golden Circle is one of the worst sequels I've seen. It's very disappointing, but Pedro Pascal is awesome in here. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, one of my favorite comedies. Shane Black, Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer. It's got some of the funniest scenes I've seen. I probably peed my pants. Knives Out, a murder mystery original from Rian Johnson. It's got one of the best casts I've ever seen. And Chris Evans as Ransom is awesome. Knocked Up, probably my favorite Judd Apatow movie. I think his movies are too long, but Knocked Up, it's Seth Rogen's best. Kong Skull Island, great 4K, and probably my favorite of the MonsterVerse we've seen. Kubo and the Two Strings, one of my favorite animated movies, probably of all time. I love this film from Laika. Kung Fu Panda 1, Kung Fu Panda 2, and Kung Fu Panda 3. Where's Kung Fu Panda 4? I really enjoy the series a lot. It's great. Love Jack Black as Poe. La La Land, Damien Chazelle. This won him his Oscar. Not one of the best musical movies of all time, but it's so well lit. Lady Bird, Greta Gerwig's directorial debut. Little Woman was solid, but Lady Bird is just perfection. The Last Samurai, Tom Cruise, just great action movie, and it's Edward Zwick's best movie for sure. Everything is Awesome. The Lego Movie 1 was one of the biggest surprises. It crushed it, but it didn't get the Oscar love though. Lego Batman. I probably would prefer this because I love Batman and just the comedy in here is golden. You like me lobster, don't you? The Lighthouse, one of my favorite movies from 2019. Robert Eggers, I'm looking forward to The Northman a lot. Lincoln, Daniel Day-Lewis is sensational in this movie. It's long, but it's Spielberg's historical magic. The Lion King, it's my favorite Disney movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. And Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, a really good Disney sequel. I really love it. Speaking of Greta Gerwig with Little Women, a really great cast, a really good Little Women adaptation. Long Shot, Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron, one of the brighter comedies of 2019. It was also very heartfelt. Looper, Rian Johnson, one of his best movies. Bruce Willis, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, just great dynamic duo. Next is the Mad Max movies with Mad Max, Road Warrior, Beyond Thunderdome, and my favorite, what a day, what a lovely day, Mad Max Fury Road. Cannot wait for the new Mad Max movie announced with Anya Taylor-Joy. Very much looking forward to that. The Magnificent Seven, a really fun Western from Antoine Fuqua, Chris Pratt, Denzel Washington, really badass. Manchester by the Sea, Casey Affleck. I would prefer Andrew Garfield for that Oscar, but Affleck was just amazing in here. Man of Steel, my favorite DCU movie, masterpiece. My favorite Superman movie, just I love Hans Zimmer. The Martian, Ridley Scott, top tier for me. Matt Damon is just incredible in here, and The Martian is just brilliant. Mary Poppins Returns. I don't own Mary Poppins. I don't know why, but Emily Blunt, she did a solid job as Mary Poppins. The Matrix, just one of the most revolutionary sci-fi action movies of all time. Time travel, just can't wait for The Matrix 4. Next is the Maze Runner movies, with the first Maze Runner, definitely the best of the three, the more action-packed. Scorched Trials, which I thought was way too long. And The Death Cure, same. These Maze Runner movies are way too long, but I really like Dylan O'Brien in them. The Meg, Jason Statham, fights a big-ass shark, you ugly bastard. The Meg was really stupid fun action cheese. Memento, Christopher Nolan, one of his more original, groundbreaking films that introduced the man we know today. And Guy Pearce is so great. $1 Million Baby, probably the saddest movies I've ever seen in my life, but Hilary Swank, Morgan Freeman, Clint Eastwood, great 1-2-3 punch. Minority Report, definitely top tier Spielberg movies. Tom Cruise, Colin Farrell, just a great sci-fi movie. Missing Link, definitely an underseen movie for Laika. Great story. It's just not one of the best Laika movies. And Fallout, definitely my favorite of the Mission Impossible movies. My favorite movie of 2018. I love Mission Impossible, if you can't tell. What can I say except you're welcome, Moana. Can't wait for the series that was announced. Really love Moana. Moneyball, Brad Pitt, Aaron Sorkin, great combination team, and Moneyball, just a very well written movie. Monsters, Inc., definitely a classic Pixar movie. Mike and Sully, some of the most iconic Pixar characters you're going to see. Monsters University, definitely an unnecessary prequel because this was really underwhelming. I didn't want to see Mike and Sully meet in college. I want to see a sequel to Monsters, Inc. Moon, a recent watch for me for this decade thing I did recently, and I loved Moon. Sam Rockwell, definitely one of his best performances to date. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. Moonlight, great Best Picture winner. I would like to see La La Land win, but I thought Moonlight was just a masterpiece. Moonrise Kingdom, Wes Anderson, great movie, great kids movie as well. Go check it out. Mulan, one of my favorite Disney movies for sure, and the character, the story, just, it inspires me. And I actually really like the remake. I know a lot of people didn't, but the remake was its own thing, and I just really enjoyed the premise and the visuals. What happened to my tots, man? Napoleon Dynamite, just, it's a classic comedy. It's harmless. The Nice Guys. This is the #1 movie everyone asks, where's the sequel to? Nobody saw this movie. We don't have a sequel now because of some people, but The Nice Guys is brilliant. Nightcrawler, one of the best films this past decade. Jake Gyllenhaal, the biggest Oscar snub of all time. Nightmare Before Christmas, a very beloved Christmas Halloween movie. It's not one of my favorites, but it's good. The most you've ever lost in a coin toss. No Country for Old Men, one of my favorite movies. Most badass films I've seen. Nocturnal Animals, very underrated movie. Please go check it out. More Jake Gyllenhaal. He's one of the best actors ever. Ocean's 8, definitely not on par with the Ocean's trilogy, but this movie was okay. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino, Brad Pitt. I don't think he deserved the Oscar. I would have given it to Willem Dafoe for The Lighthouse, but it's Tarantino. Only the Brave. Please watch this movie, guys. It is emotional, it is brilliant, and it's just one of the most underrated films in a while. Onward, did a Pixar tier list, definitely go check it out, and Onward I thought was a surprise. I really enjoyed that movie, and the ending was sad. Pacific Rim, Guillermo del Toro, pretty overrated, but it's fine. Paddington 2, phenomenal movie, very emotional, great family movie. Paranormal Activity, great found footage horror movie that the other sequels didn't live up to. Paranorman, Leica Studios, very underrated, definitely one of Leica Studios' best. I'd say we're getting there. Let's chug along. Parasite, one of the most deserving Best Picture winners of all time. I freaking love that. Probably my favorite foreign film. The Patriot, still have not seen this movie yet. Patriots Day, probably my favorite of Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg's collaborations. I'm a Boston guy, and that movie depicted the Boston Marathon bombing perfectly. Peter Pan, classic Disney movie for sure. Not a watched film, but I just loved it. Phantom Thread, Daniel Day-Lewis, still have not seen the movie yet, but I bought it. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest, At World's End, On Stranger Tides, and what's this one called? Dead Men Tell No Tales. But I need to rewatch the Pirates movies. Definitely the first one's the best one. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Watched this for the first time on Thanksgiving last year, and I just love that movie. Polar Express, one of my favorite Christmas movies. Watched it all the time. On to the North Pole. Power Rangers. Shame this movie didn't get a sequel, because I really enjoyed this Power Rangers adaptation. Forgot a collection. We got the Predator collection with Predator 1987, Predator 2, and Predators. Did a ranking for these movies when the awful Predator movie came out, and I like the first one the most. The Prestige, definitely top tier Nolan, underrated. Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman. I love great rivalries that movie has. Speaking of Hugh Jackman, his best performance in Prisoners. Top 2 Denis Villeneuve films. I was emotional when I saw it. Psycho, I reviewed this movie. It's probably my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie, and Norman Bates is an iconic character. Pulp Fiction, Quarter Pounders with Cheese, iconic characters, The Gimp in the Trunk. You know Pulp Fiction's a classic. I don't know why I have these. The Purge movies, the first one, Election Year, and Anarchy. I think I bought them because I did a ranking for them. I don't know why. I wasted $30 on them. Rain Man. I still haven't seen it. Please don't kill me. Ratatouille. If you know my hot takes, you know Ratatouille. I find it to be overrated for Pixar. It's not an awful movie. It's just not my top tier Pixar. It's a good movie, guys. Ready or Not. One of the biggest surprises. I almost skipped this movie, and thank God I saw it, because Samara Weaving is a legend in there. Ready Player One. I absolutely love Ready Player One when I first saw it. It hasn't stuck with me, though. I am looking forward to Ready Player 2, though. Remember the Titans, definitely one of my favorite sports movies. This is such a good movie. I love it. Reservoir Dogs, Tarantino, his first movie, it's full of dialogue and a simple premise, which is what Tarantino's known for. The Revenant, it took Leonardo DiCaprio getting mauled by a bear to win an Oscar, but he's great in here. I would have given it for him for Catch Me If You Can. Revenge, one of the most underrated movies I've seen. It's disgusting. It's a disturbing watch, but go check it out. Next is a trilogy I always recommend people to watch if they never heard of it or seen it. The Planet of the Apes trilogy. Rise, Dawn, and War for the Planet of the Apes. I love these movies. They're some of my favorite films of all time. Robin Hood. I think I bought this pretty cheap. Definitely not one of the best Disney movies, but it was cheap. Rocket Man! How was Taron Egerton not nominated for this movie? He was fantastic. Way better than Rami Malek. The Rocky collection, Rocky Balboa, just iconic. Next we got Creed 1 and Creed 2. Fantastic spin-off Rocky films. Can't wait for Creed 3, directed by Michael B. Jordan. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, more Rankin Bass Christmas movies. Definitely my favorite from Rankin Bass. The Sandlot, my favorite sports movie of all time. I love this film, and the characters, the story, the baseball is great. And the last Rankin Bass movie, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, one of my favorites. Saving Private Ryan, I love this steelbook. Just probably my favorite steelbook I own. It's so well thought of, but Saving Private Ryan, it's top tier Spielberg. Introduce you to my little friend, Scarface. Very long, but Al Pacino, just iconic in there. Quiet Place, cannot wait for the sequel. Please let it come out this year because Quiet Place was one of the best horror films I've seen in a while. Still have not seen Schindler's List, guys, but I will make it my 2021 goal. I promise to finally watch Schindler's List. Shut the hell up, Schneebly. School of Rock, just one of my favorite comedies, possibly my favorite comedy. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, top 2 Edgar Wright movie for sure. A great comic book movie, and Chris Evans plays a skater dude. Searchin', one of the best thrillers I've seen in a while. Go check it out. John Cho should have got Oscar consideration. 7, What's in the Box? Top tier David Fincher. 7, it's a masterpiece. Shape of Water, I did not think this movie deserved to win Best Picture. Just being honest. Logan. The Shawshank Redemption. You guys know it's one of my favorite movies of all time if you're a fan of the channel, and I want to review this movie at some point. Excuse me. Shazam, really cool steelbook, and the back is the best part. Shazam's a lot of fun. Zachary Levi, looking forward to Fury of the Gods. The Shining, my favorite horror movie of all time, and Jack Nicholson should have gotten an Oscar nomination. Sicario, Denis Villeneuve made a great, gritty thriller, and they made a sequel, surprisingly, with Day of the Soldado. It was okay. It was nowhere on par with Denis Villeneuve, though. Signs, M. Night Shyamalan, one of his best movies, for sure. It's a really good movie, but I did not like the twist. I See Dead People, The Sixth Sense, one of Shyamalan's best films. Slumdog Millionaire, did not deserve to win Best Picture. The Dark Knight wasn't even nominated, but Dev Patel was great for his first film. Snowpiercer, Bong Joon-ho, after Parasite, I need to revisit Snowpiercer. The Social Network, definitely my favorite David Fincher movie. Well written, one of the best written films I've ever seen. And Sonic the Hedgehog. Jim Carrey was a sensation in that film. Let's power through these. Sorry to bother you. I don't know why I still own this. I was really bored by that movie. Space Jam, looking forward to New Legacy. I will be reviewing this leading up to it, and I used to love the movie. The Spectacular Now, one of my favorite A24 movies. Next is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. After the all announcements coming up for Spider-Man 3, looking forward to it. Spider-Man 2 is definitely my favorite. Homecoming, definitely overrated, but Michael Keaton was definitely the best as Vulture. And Far From Home, Jake Gyllenhaal, I want more of him as Mysterio. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, definitely my favorite Spider-Man movie to date. Looking forward to the sequel. Spies in Disguise, really underrated animated movie. Go check it out. Will Smith, Tom Holland. Spirited Away, one of the best animated movies ever made. Watched it for the first time, reviewed it, and I loved it. Split, M. Night Shyamalan, definitely a really good movie. Really enjoyed it. A Star is Born. How did this movie not win Oscars for Bradley Cooper Best Director and Actor? I still don't know why. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. I watched it for the tournament I did recently. Fantastic movie. I need to get into the rest of the Star Treks, though. Haven't seen Into Darkness. Next, the Star Wars movies. Force Awakens, just one of the best theater experiences. I cried and laughed. Rogue One, definitely one of the best for Disney Star Wars. The Last Jedi, I defend Last Jedi. It's beautifully visually. Solo, A Star Wars Story, one of the most pointless Star Wars movies of all time. And The Rise of Skywalker is absolute garbage. Step Brothers, one of my favorite comedies. Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly. You touch my drum set? Straight Outta Compton, one of the best musical biopics ever. The NWA, go check it out. Stronger, Jake Gyllenhaal, one of his best performances. Took place during the Boston Marathon bombings. Suicide Squad, looking forward to James Gunn's Suicide Squad. This one, I'm a DC collectionist. Tangle, one of my favorite Disney revival age movies, and Zachary Levi is awesome. Taxi Driver, top tier Martin Scorsese films, and Robert De Niro, iconic. Ted 1 and Ted 2, some of the really funny, raunchy comedies there. Tenet, one of my favorite movies last year, and Christopher Nolan, it's just epic. Thelma and Louise, I've not seen this movie. You want a milkshake? There Will Be Blood, Daniel Day-Lewis, iconic. John Carpenter's The Thing, one of my favorite horror movies of all time, amazing. Next we got Thor 1, Thor The Dark World, and Thor Ragnarok. Have the Thor movies, Ragnarok is definitely the best one. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, great movie. I thought that should have won Best Picture over Shape of Water. The Titanic, fantastic classic movie from James Cameron. Top Gun, looking forward to Top Gun Maverick. We'll be reviewing this before it. Of course, Tom Cruise, A Need for Speed. Childhood, Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, and 4. I own them all in 4K Steelbook. Childhood. King Kong ain't got shit on me. Training Day, Denzel Washington's best performance. Yes, I own the Transformers movies. Let's just get them out of the way, and you guys can dislike me, unsubscribe, do whatever you want. My mom got me one of them, so don't hate me too much. Tropic Thunder, great comedy, Ben Stiller directing, just a fantastic movie. Unbreakable, one of my favorite movies of all time, one of the biggest surprises. Uncle Drew, fun basketball comedy with NBA stars. This Is How I Win, Adam Sandler, Uncut Gems, amazing film. Up, emotional, 10 minutes, and the rest is fun. Upgrade, Lee Winnell wanted to do more horror movies. The Upside, Bryan Cranston, Kevin Hart, it's very sweet. I enjoyed it. Us doesn't hold up for me, but Jordan Peele did a solid job directing it. The 5th of November, V for Vendetta, one of the best comic book movies. Valerian, I don't know why I own this movie. Venom, I'm not looking forward to Venom Let There Be Carnage, but Tom Hardy is just great as Venom. WALL-E, very overrated Pixar movie. War of the Worlds, very underrated Spielberg movie. Mickey, look at Warrior, definitely one of the best sports movies of all time in my book. Watchmen, Zack Snyder, I haven't seen the series on HBO. Let me know your thoughts on it. Waves, very underrated A24 movie. Go watch this movie. It is so emotional, but so worth it. Another very underrated movie, The Way Back, Gavin O'Connor, Ben Affleck. One of my favorite movies of last year. Whiplash, one of my favorite movies of all time, and one of the biggest surprises I've ever seen in the theater. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, absolute classic. Wind River, one of the most underrated thrillers I've ever seen. Jeremy Renner, Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, and Hawkeye. If you've never seen it, go watch it. The Witch, Robert Eggers. I prefer The Lighthouse, but it's a great horror movie. Final Pile, oh my god. The Wizard of Oz, one of my favorite musicals of all time. The Wolf of Wall Street, Martin Scorsese. He still makes movies better than most 20-year-olds. Wonder, great underrated movie. Go check it out. Wonder Woman, the sequel was highly disappointing, but Wonder Woman is amazing. Won't You Be My Neighbor, definitely the best documentary I've seen. World War Z, we were going to get a sequel, but I don't know where it is. Wreck-It Ralph and Ralph Breaks the Internet. This one is not good, but Wreck-It Ralph is one of my favorites for Disney. X-Men movies, here we go. X-Men. X2, X-Men United. X-Men, The Last Stand. Why do I own this movie? First Class. The Wolverine. Days of Future Past. Apocalypse. And Logan. Look at that steelbook. It was very hard to find when it released. Zero Dark 30, Catherine Bigelow, Jessica Chastain's best performance. Zodiac, one of the best thrillers I have ever seen. And Zombieland, one of my favorite comedies. I love Twinkies. Zombieland Double Tap, not a bad sequel. Not as good as the first one, though. And finally, Zootopia. Looking forward to that Zootopia series. Finally, I'm done. Wow, that took me forever. I'm finally done, but thank you guys so much for watching my year-long tradition of my entire Blu-ray collection for 2021. 649 Blu-rays, we power through them just like that. Again, if you guys are new and you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and consider clicking that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Thank you guys so much for watching this epic video. All my social media links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!